All right. So as I mentioned, no one's quite there yet, but you all have the goal of someday driving. Even if you're not driving, you're still spending a lot of time in a car. When you leave here today, take a minute to, instead of playing on your phone while you're sitting there on the bus or in the car, and look at possibly the person driving the car. That'll be very scary. But also look at all the cars that are passing you on the road, and you will see an unbelievable amount of cars using their phones. I feel like as I look at the cars passing me in the morning on the way home, I feel like a majority of them, more than not, more are using their phone, like playing on their phone, texting their phone while they're driving. And then there are some stats involved that are really shocking to it. And so this is driving while intoxicated. I wish I had coined that phrase. I thought that was pretty smart there. So in 2011, and these numbers have only gone up, in 2011, 23% of all auto accidents were cell phone related. All right? So that's almost a quarter. So imagine like 1 in 4 car accidents are somehow cell phone related. And just to give you an idea, in that same year, if you take all the number of accidents in the country, and then, and 23% of them worked out to 1.3 million car accidents. And what's insane about that number is you don't know life any other way than with this, all right? Because this has been around, for many of you as long as you've been, old enough. But if we go back 20 years before cell phones, this is 1.3 million accidents that didn't occur. So imagine if we traveled back in time 20 years ago, this 1.3 million accidents just didn't exist. And this is a whole new accident segment that we had to put on those, insurance form or the accident form for them to check cell phone details. And so that's insane. We've created this new accident segment. It's something that is really completely avoidable. These accidents don't have to happen. But these things have become these cell phones are such a part of our life, and we're so addicted to them that we can't imagine life without them. I had students who were like, I need to take my cell phone as they went outside, which was fine with me. I didn't care when we went out to the fire, but they just couldn't imagine being parted. How many of you feel the vibrate in your pocket and there's no phone in there? Do you ever get the phantom vibrate? As if you're like, I got a text, and then you put your hand in, you're like, oh wait, my phone's not in my pocket. Has that ever happened to you?
No. What?
Yeah, I tell you, they're nodding their heads. Because your phone's, often this is like my phone pocket, and it's happened to me, I got it. Oh wait, my phone's not in my pocket. That's a little creepy. So, if you were to check your text message, all right, you get a text and you check your phone and you read it, that time takes about 5 seconds. That doesn't sound like a long time, right? 5 seconds doesn't sound long, but 5 seconds is a long time, all right? It's 5 seconds in a complete silence. That's a long time. At 55 miles per hour, you've traveled the length of a football field. So many of you were at the game on Friday, and so you've seen a football field, and so that's how far a car travels at 55. You're on Route 30, you're probably going a lot faster than that, 65. You're on a major highway, maybe you're 75, maybe you're pushing 80, depending on where you are. So you can travel a great distance in the time it's taking you to read that text message. And then I think about, my gosh, what if you're doing it, and then the car on a 2-lane road is doing it coming towards you. The two of you are traveling, 2 football fields in that time. Neither of you looking at the road. Think of all the things that you've experienced in your time in an automobile. Deer jumping out in front of you, a cat or a dog or an animal, a ball rolling out the road. You turn the corner, there's a trash truck sitting there. You come over a little hill, there's an Amish buggy going 6 miles per hour. You're traveling 55 miles per hour. And all those things that can happen, and your eyes aren't on the road. The facts on that are shocking. So if we look at just this short period, and so I realize it's 2016 right now, and we don't, the stats aren't always immediately available, but I've got stats from 2011 and then also 2013, so just a 2-year time difference. And so in 2011, 385 people were killed. All right, not a huge number, but still tragic. That's tragic. That's 385 deaths that were, for the most part, probably completely avoidable. In a 2-year time period, we see almost 1,000% increase to 3,185 people killed because they're using this. Now, similar to like a drunk driver, like, well, it serves the person right. They shouldn't have been drinking and driving, and that's why they died. Unfortunately, it's not always the drunk driver that's injured or killed in the accident. It's the passenger in the car. It's the other person in another car. It's the person just walking along on the side of the street that's injured because of that. So those deaths aren't always the person driving that was doing the texting, but people around them. And then in that same span, 2011 and 2013, and so in 2011 we had 21,000 people just injured, just injured on some level. Sometimes it's a minor injury, and sometimes it's a lifelong injury where you're paralyzed or something horrible like that. And then we look at that over just a simple 2-year period, 424,000 people. So we're pushing 500,000 people injured in 2013 because of a cell phone. And again, completely avoidable. Those 500,000 people didn't have to be injured because of those things. That's a completely avoidable accident. 25% of teens send a text every single time they drive. And so that parking lot out there at 245, 247 when we dismiss, there's 250 kids, trying to leave. The parking lot is crazy. And so I would easily imagine that, 1 in 4 of them out there are on their phone doing something, sending a text message or whatever. And we have constantly minor little fender benders out there once a week, once every 2 weeks. And I imagine a lot of them are phone related. The person with a phone out and they're trying to send those texts, they're getting those texts. The car in front of them comes to a quick stop because they're another car's coming, but you're busy fooling on your phone, and they bump right into it. Nothing major, but living with your parents, if you put a dent in their car, can be trying at best. And for some of you, you're going to learn those things later. It's never any fun. 10% of teens, so 1 in 10, involved in a fatal car accident are texting. And it's tough. When you first learn to drive, you're not good at it. All right, you do the big learning curve. The experience goes a long way, and so lots of teens are injured. Poor weather, rain, visibility. When we have 2-hour delays or the snow starts to come in, we always see some minor accidents with students because they're just not experienced, and that comes with time. But here, 10% of the teenagers, so like every 10 cars or teenagers are killed, one of them is because it's cell phone related. And again, that death did not have to occur simply because someone's playing on this device. So that's some crazy stuff. About half of all teens have seen their parents talking on a cell phone. Now we'll see that isn't a huge increase in the likelihood of an accident, but it's still a small increase. And so, your parents, the adults in your life are supposed to be role models, but again, like you probably been in a car where they're talking on the phone, you don't have to raise your hand. Probably a lot of you have been in the car where your parent is texting on the phone, possibly. And the sad thing is, even though you're not driving, and you're still at these giant percentages and giant increases of being involved in an accident, and you have no control of that situation. You're simply riding along. You're not the one texting. You're not the one driving, but you're just as likely to be involved in that accident because you're still in that same vehicle. So let's see here. It's 9 o'clock right now. It's still pretty early on the West Coast. It's 6:19 a.m. there. But in another hour or so, things are, the whole country will be up and moving. And so it really, at those kind of times, at any given moment, you've got, millions and millions of cars here in the United States on the road. And at any given moment, 660,000 of those people are in their car using their cell phone. And so just think about that for 5 seconds right now. More than 500,000 people were in their car, possibly traveling the length of a football field, playing on their phone. And undoubtedly, there was probably 1 or 2 accidents in this country. Again, millions of people on the road because of a cell phone. Again, completely avoidable. It doesn't have to happen, but we're so addicted and so tied into those things that we just can't imagine not responding to that text, not reading it when we get it, and then those type of things there. Not every state does, but a lot of them have some kind of fine or ban for using it. So here in Pennsylvania, it's a $140 fine for texting while the vehicle is in motion. Technically, you can use it at stoplights, stop signs. If the vehicle stops, you're legally allowed to use it here in Pennsylvania. Other states aren't that lenient. Our neighbor to the south, Maryland, is a hands-free state, which means you're not allowed to be having the phone in your hand. So you can't have it up to your ear. You can't be talking on it. You're supposed to be some kind of like Bluetooth setup, hands-free mode there, so that that's in Maryland. It's not a ton of money, $75, but there's still a fine involved there. As I understand it, in Pennsylvania, it's sort of like a secondary offense, so you technically can't be pulled over just for texting while you're driving. But they'll pull you over for like reckless driving. Be like, hey, you crossed over the center line twice in a half mile. So I pulled you over for that, and I saw that you were texting while you were doing it. So in addition to reckless driving, I'm going to hit you with the texting while driving fine, which another $140 on top of that, and another things like that. So there's some really stiff fines. Look at Alaska. Wow. Take it very seriously there. $20 in California. So everyone there is doing their phone.
No ban in some states.
Yeah, no ban in some states. Montana, just find out enough people or trees, and some other. In some other places, just for new drivers. Buses only, new drivers too. So how much more likely are you to be involved in a car accident? So if you're texting, you are 23 times more likely. That is a huge percent. Not like 23% more likely, 23 times. So if I said to you, if you were an athlete, if you were like a baseball player, like, hey, if you use a special swing technique, you're going to be 23 times more likely to hit a home run. You would do it, and you would probably be like the home run king for the season. If I said, hey, I've got this special blackjack method, and if you did it, you're going to be 23 times more likely to hit blackjack there in Vegas. You would do it and go home a millionaire. All right, these odds are huge. So you are 23 times more likely to be involved in an auto accident texting than not texting. Now, the way our brains are wired, we think, well, if I did it yesterday and I was fine, I'll be okay again today. So the way the human brain is wired, we have a tendency to think that, and we'll look at more here in a second. Now, I talked about like talking on the phone has a small increase in risk. It's like 1.3 times more likely. It's not huge. It's still pretty small. And so some people ask, like, well, is it dangerous to be talking to the person in the car? Like, would that be dangerous as well, like talking to someone on the phone? And the answer is not really. Think about the times you've been in the car. You get to a busy intersection, and you're in the passenger seat. How many of you, like, turn to the right and say, don't go yet, wait, okay, you can go after the blue truck, right? And so you're actually aiding the driver. If you get to a busy intersection where you need to merge onto the highway or get off the highway, you might stop talking or, again, help them navigate it. So you're actually aiding the driver in those situations. And when you're talking on a phone, the person you're talking to doesn't know that you're at a busy intersection. You're going to stop when you're trying to look, and you're trying to look both ways, but your distraction is drawn in this phone. And so that person doesn't stop talking. The person can't help you with it. And so, there is that, small increase there in potential for an accident. They're not big, but, it can still happen. And that's not it. 1 in 5 people, so 20% of people admit to surfing the web while driving a car. Now, initially that sounds insane, but think about the things that you've seen and possibly done in your car. Like, you know what? Your mom says, I don't feel like cooking dinner tonight. Let's call for pizza. Like, oh, geez, what is the pizza place's number? So you Google it. Or you want to go to a store and it's Sunday. Geez, did they close on Friday or Saturday? So again, maybe you're going to Google that. Or how do I get to this place? I'm not sure. You quick Google the address on your phone. So there's all kinds of things there. Now, we're great at justifying stuff. And so a lot of people think, well, I only read text messages. I don't compose them because that's going to take more time. But it's still, you get that message, you pull the phone out, you read it, you understand it, okay, you nod your head, whatever. It's still 5 seconds has gone by in that time. Now, I haven't seen any stats yet to know, is your attention off the road for less time, like with a smartwatch, when you get those notifications that way? I'm not sure. I haven't been able to read anything yet. Though I have read that using Siri takes just as much time with your attention and eyes off the road as it does simply typing the message in. So I don't know if you've done it. You're like, hey, text mom, thumbs up. Hey, mom, going to be 5 minutes late. Love you. And then you reread. How many of you reread that message before you hit send to make sure that it says what you thought it said instead of something insane, right? So say, Mom, I hate you. I'm never coming home, right? You want to make sure it says what you thought it was going to say. And so again, people spend just as much time off their eyes off the road as they do post a message, because again, they go back, they need to fix something. So that the whole Siri thing really isn't much of a help. You don't see this much anymore in Pennsylvania. You used to a lot before the texting law was passed. So I remember you would drive down the road and you would see someone with the phone up on the steering wheel like this, with their hand up here in the phone. You sometimes still see it. You leave the state in your other areas where it is in the law, you'll see it more. And so people are like, well, if I can have a GPS up there, then I can just look at my phone, see the road, and we're fine. And so I remember seeing a lot of people drive that way. Now, so as soon as that law passed, everyone stopped doing it. Now, this is what I'm saying. When you go in your car tonight, watch the cars driving by, and you will see all these people like staring at the floor in their car. That's because the phone is down here, and they're like looking down here. They don't want the police to see the phone up, so they've got it down low. And they're going to be driving, and they're sort of like looking down, and it looks weird as you see that. You'll be shocked tonight when you drive home how many cars you will see with people staring like down at their laps or at the floor of the car. They're really staring at their phones, thinking that, oh, no one will see me doing this because, but it's still pretty obvious. Other people go, I just won't follow as close, which is, I'm sure the car in front of you appreciates you not tailgating them. But again, think about all the things that can happen. I think about the mornings I see a trash truck and it's just stopped there in the road. Or the morning I turn the corner or come over a little hill and there's an Amish buggy, going at a fraction of my speed. Or, lots of mornings I see joggers or bikers going down the side of the road. And again, you're on the phone, the road's bending and twisting, your car can drift into one lane or the other. A lot of people, while technically legal, do it at stoplights. I've seen cars drift into intersections or backwards, depending whether it's a standard or an automatic. So there's lots of things that can happen. So as I was mentioning a moment ago, the way our brains are wired, if you engage in a behavior, especially like a negative behavior, and nothing happens, you think, well, I did it the day before, and I did it before that, and I did it before that, and nothing happened. I wasn't in an accident. I'm fine. I'm pretty good at texting the car. I'll be fine. But that's not the case. I mean, the behavior is just as dangerous. And so again, it kind of falls like that gambling mentality. If black came up on the roulette wheel 3 times in a row, wow, black is hot. It's got to come up again. I'm putting all the money on black. The roulette wheel has no memory. It's just as likely to be black as it is red. It's a 50-50 every single time. And the same thing here. You're just as likely to be involved in that car accident today as you were yesterday. Just because it didn't happen yesterday doesn't mean it's not going to happen today. You were simply lucky. It's the same way, you can think of it this way. This is how Japanese view crime. The police there say a criminal has to be lucky every single time they commit a crime to not get caught. You have to be lucky every single time. The police only have to get lucky once and to catch you. It's the same thing here with the driver. You have to be lucky every single time that you text and drive in order not to be involved in that accident. It's not that you're better at it or you're good at it, and that's not the case. You're just as likely every single time. And so we think we're good at it when in fact we're not. All right, we got this. This is a funny little video clip. It's in French, but it is subtitled. And this in the video, this hidden camera, they tell the people coming for their driver's test that they've just passed a new law and you have to be able to text and drive safely in order to get your license. And so they force the people during this driver's test to text and do things, and we can see some of the consequences. There's some sound, but it's all in French, so it doesn't really matter. So to get your license, you have to take the mobile phone in the car. And everyone's like, this is insane, it's dangerous, it's too hard, I would never do it. And so here they are in this situation where, well, you have to by law do it. And they're like, no, it's too difficult, I can't possibly do it, it's too dangerous. And yet, as soon as this person probably leaves the thing, there we are engaged in that behavior. We all know it's dangerous, and if you went to the driver's center, as many of you will, here the next year or so to do it. If the person told you that, you'd be like, "Oh, I can't. This is really hard." And you'll see him hit cones and all kinds of crazy. This guy bangs his head off the dashboard here in a moment. This isn't working. There it is. And then at one point he's like, "Oh, you're a terrible speller." He tells the guy texting. They're all like, "I can't do this. I can't drive. Like, I won't do it. Like, this is too hard. This law is insane." And it is. But we still do it. I mean, we obviously know it's dangerous, yet we still engage in this incredibly dangerous behavior there.
Resting.
And so, yes, it only takes a second, right? You're just thinking, "Oh, well, and how I do this a lot with my wife. I do it before, and they, hey, heading home, just kind of give them, an ETA on that." But again, a lot of people do that in the car, or they're, sending those messages. It only takes a moment. But those consequences in that 5 seconds can be just disastrous. Whether it ends up injuring you, killing you, or killing someone around you. We're going to watch a video clip tomorrow where a man ends up killing another person, 3 of that person's family, because he sent a text message. And what did that super important text message going to say? It said, "I love you." He was telling his wife he loved you, and he ended up killing another man's family, because of that. I mean, it's something he has to carry and regrets for the rest of his life because it just couldn't wait. Was it really that important that it couldn't wait? And so